Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today I am just so full of happiness, love, and joy because I'm talking about one of my favorite books. It is Magician Apprentice and Magician Master. I'm used to thinking of them together because that's how it was the book edition that Steve had given me. However, I am also thrilled because we are back.
That edition also has keys on it.
I know it does have keys on it. So Lady Gravemaster, that's actually Lady Gravemaster's preferred cover.
What?
Not. Okay, but yes.
Isn't look, thou shalt not bear false witness.
That's true. That's a sin. And, well, you know what? Yeah, got to get ready for Easter. All right. None of that. Yes, we are. It is the return of all of us and Lady Gravemaster. Hi, Lady Gravemaster. What's up?
Oh, just keeping busy, living the dream. And talking about a fantastical book with some fantastical people. So thank you for having me, as always.
Oh, thank you. And we have Princess Rennie.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be back. I've missed these chats. I hope everybody's doing well today. So, this is my first go around with this series. So I will be the novice, so bear with me if I say anything stupid because I don't know what I'm talking about past chapter 5.
No, that's okay. I'm just so happy that for once I'm not blind because that was always tricky for me when we were doing the Shannara books. I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen. But now that I do, and I don't have to worry about spoilers, so that's also why I was able to get a lot of the illustrations we're going to be seeing. And all the way from the future, the Viking himself, Stieg Kenobi.
Hello. How do you do?
Hi, how do you do? Or rather, well, I know you're busy getting ready for your papa's station in a few weeks because Stieg, of course, is really King Charles's illegitimate son. He just pretends.
Are you calling me a bastard, ma'am?
Yes, I am. But hey, you're a bastard who gets to live in Downton Abbey, so well done.
No, I don't live in Downton Abbey. I have a basement apartment outside next to a noisy street that gets covered in snow and shit all the time.
Well, that's what happens when you
drunk
live in
people pass by during weekends.
Oh my!
With drunken retardedness, loud.
Motorcycles too.
What?
Motorcycles.
Oh yes, motorcycles.
I have a question.
Because I always have to let you know.
Sorry, Teresa.
No, go ahead.
Is the shit covered in snow, or does the snow mix up with the shit? And if you slip in one or the other, you're pretty much slipping in both?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just had to ask.
I lost track. It's shit. Let's just go with that.
Well, we have varied thoughts here on Miss Martin Muses. Well, it's the future, though. Can you at least tell us about the future?
Well, the snow is melting now, so it's pretty good. And I'm looking forward to reading the next 5 chapters of this book for next week. Because I didn't want to stop, but I did.
Well done. Well, I think it was a very stop. I just love it. I can't say it. Jacob Ironside, hello, Teresa, says hello, Teresa, Rennie, Lady Gravemaster, and Steve. Why, hello there. Thank you very much. It looks like we get roses and Steve gets a dragon. Okay.
Hello there.
Hey, unless it's Fantas, my little Fantas. For how do I say it? I always say this wrong. For Fithian Guard, salutation, folks. Why, hello there. Hello, everyone saying hello to Jacob. Rennie saying hello. Jacob saying hello. And the other people will be saying hello. Because one reason I wanted to do that is that Disney has gotten their mitts onto.
Well,
I
don't think
pardon me, not Disney.
No, it's not Disney, I think.
Yeah. It's the people that worked with Lucasfilm, the Kiri Hart, Lucas group, and the dude that wrote Solo or was part of Solo are going to be adapting this. So I really wanted to go through this so people could get an idea of it and enjoy it the way it's supposed to be. Because I don't trust anyone nowadays. I am far beyond the let's wait and see. We've been there, done that. It's always been a disappointment. Oh, great. Okay, thank you, Stieg. See what's going on here. But let me know in the chat. Also, help me out. Can you all hear me? Am I roboting? And I'll see what I can do to fix that. Steve gets a dragon. Oh, okay. Thank you. For the guard is stuck stranded in Arizona and sick.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, that sucks. And oh yeah, Mr. Brown Alliance. Hello there. All right. Well, I want to give us just a general overview of the first 5 chapters, or rather, talk about it. And I'll go ahead and start with the Gravemaster. Lady Gravemaster, what are your thoughts on the beginning of Magician Apprentice?
So there are a few books in the world that captivate me immediately. And this is one of them, because right out of the gate, the foreshadowing in the very first, with the title of the chapter, which is Storm, right? And the very first sentence is the storm had broken. And I've already been informed that I can't speak too much about the remainder of the novel because Rennie's never read it. But I think that after knowing what's coming, that is a very foreshadowing statement to kind of make. And we get to meet Pug, and we go from the storm had broken, and so you get this immediately. You're like, well, like, so there was a storm, which means there was strife, and there was like, I don't know how imaginative you guys are, but you get the sense of relief because the storm had broken, so we're coming in, and it's a time of relief and joy, right? And you get to meet Pug, who is dancing, so that sense of joy sort of continues. But as we get a little bit further into chapter 1, I don't want, like, you wonder how much of it was Pug celebrating the end of the storm, or is this just how Pug is and kind of needs an anchor? And I don't know, like, that's just, again, since I've read this book before and now rereading it,
I didn't remember any dancing.
It's the second stance. Pug
Yeah,
dancing
he kind
on
of
the
does
edge of
like
the rocks.
Oh,
yeah, kind of
yeah,
does
because the storm happens after. I mean, he's on the rocks and fishing crabs, and then he sleeps, and then storm.
But the storm had broken. Like, the first sentence is the storm had broken.
Oh yeah, but sorry, but another one kicks in.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
you're like, oh, is Pug just this silly, and does he need an anchor? And then, like, the next storm happens, and he's sleeping on the, like, that's what I mean.
You know what? The way he describes how the storm comes in from the coast and what it's like to be in it, it's accurate, because it's happened to me a few times. It's exactly as described in that chapter. Because first you'll just push you around a bit,
So we've
and then
almost
you realize
lost Steek?
What? No, I stood fast, head held tall.
We almost.
You weren't sleeping. You weren't sleeping on the rocks.
No, I had whiskey on the rocks.
Oh, okay.
No, but it's literally what it's like. It's like, it feels like it's trying to push you around a bit, almost playfully, and then you kind of get the sense that, oh shit, it's trying to kill you when it gets stronger and stronger. So
shocking that Mother Nature seems to have a tendency to do that.
Yeah, it blows.
But then,
oh my gosh!
But even what?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry. Steek. No, that's okay, Steve. Thank you. Just keep going.
No, a
Uh,
gravy was talking.
Shut up. Okay, sorry, Lady Gravemaster. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. I'm just gonna say, like, even when he meets Master Kulgan, he's like, yes, I know you from the castle. And then he's like, what's your name, boy from the keep? And he's like, Pug, Master Kulgan. Like, it's just, I don't know. I find that first interaction interesting because Master Kulgan is like, do not call me master. So it's, sorry, 1 second. I have a tiny grave master.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying. Luffy's God says, yeah, right. Sounds right. You go from strong winds to 30-foot waves. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
So, it looks like we're dealing with little grave masters there. Rennie, now you've never read this, so what was your first thoughts? And I will sit here judging you.
Of the first 5 chapters or of the first chapter, what?
In general, yeah, first 5
Okay.
chapters, just in general, since this is your first impression.
It's a little hard to say right at this point. Not gonna lie, I did. I was a full disclosure. I'm kind of having a hard time getting into this one. But I will say there's a lot of, I guess, coming of age in it, and a lot of separation of class, so to speak. And it's pretty well versed in the first few chapters. There's a lot of mystery, so I'm not really sure where we're going with this. Some of these things, especially after the 5th chapter. So I am kind of curious as to what's next, but I don't know. I haven't had a character yet that I've kind of latched onto like I typically do when I start a book, so I'm not sure who my favorite character is at this point yet.
Yeah.
One thing to keep in mind with all these big fantasy stories, including the Lord of the Rings, really, is the first 100 pages are world building quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, except for the Shanra books, actually, because that was like, yeah, Alanon shows up, bam, lore dumping. Now run off, there's monsters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's kind of different, but as a rule, book 1 tends to be thicker, and it does a lot of world building.
Well, you
And,
didn't like.
in this one, it happens twice for obvious reasons.
You didn't like Tully? Like, you didn't connect with Tully, Rennie?
Not really. I'll be honest. There were 2 people that I semi-connected with, and it was the princess and Pug. I kind of feel for Pug, and I kind of want things to go better for him, especially, at the beginning and how his life is described. But I also can relate to the princess as well, because she's a bit of an elitist, and I grew up, in a house with a little bit of money, so I can understand the separation of class. But at the same time, you have to remember we're all humans here. So I did like some of those, those relative ideals that were put in there. But as of yet, not really too much yet.
Oh,
I think Pug is endearing, but that's also probably because I've read the whole book before.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, Rennie, because my actual favorite characters of the ones we've seen so far it's not Pug and it's not Carlene, and they call her Carlene in the audio, so that's what I'm going to call her instead of Carline, because that sounds like dismissal at school. My favorites, one you haven't met, another is Arutha. Martin.
We didn't get too much exposure yet to him.
It precisely, yes.
Not yet, but it'll happen.
Okay.
Yeah, and Thomas. So you see, because their moments haven't come yet, because Pug is if you will, the Luke Skywalker character. He's the one that anchors it all. He's the one who has this big overall journey, and then the supporting characters. So, yeah, they're. I'll be very interested to see how you feel as we go on. I'm recalling how in the third book of the Shannara, the Wish Song, I was such a hater in the first.
Yes, I remember that.
And then
You were like, I
changed-
don't know if I
so-
like this.
I told Stig, I remember saying, I was like, you guys are going to get angry, but it'll get better.
Oh, I remember mentioning to you, Gravy, that I think it was halfway through book 3 that oh shit, Teresa and Rennie are liking all the characters.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
And then
They're all
like
gonna
everybody
die.
dies.
Everybody. Stig,
like,
he did.
wow.
He DM'd me. He's like, so we have a problem, and I'm like, is everybody okay? Like, I like, is everything fine? And he goes, well, Teresa and Rennie are like in love with pretty much everybody in the book, and I was like, oh no, oh no.
yeah, because I was like, I'm gonna get blamed for this, which happened quite a bit.
Yes, that's
I had
exactly
to-
what he said.
I had to specify that I did not write this book.
He did. He's like, I'm gonna get yelled at for this, and I was like, well, I'm sorry that I can't be there. Best of luck. May the wrath be mild.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was. Oh well, Pug is the main character for Vivian, and Luffy is God. He says Pug is so boring in the start. I was rooting for the storm. Oh my gosh, now that's a little hard.
That's mean.
Pug is just
Yeah.
so
He's-
okay. I think the reason that Pug is relatable because remember I was saying like the storm broke and Pug is just dancing around the rocks, and then he's out there like doing stuff, and then he falls asleep. Like he kind of, for me at least, this is the way that I have read the beginning of Pug's character. At this point in his life, Pug is just going wherever the storm blows him or the
Yes.
wind takes it. Like he is very, that's what I'm saying. Like you get the sense of him not being a very serious individual. He doesn't take anything seriously, like even his own life. And you're like, this guy needs an anchor. And like, he needs something, he needs some kind of purpose or some kind of
Mentorship.
mentorship. Like
Yeah.
this is to me rereading this Pug is the epitome of Gen Z. Like
Well,
it's he
not really,
needs,
because he does his duty.
well,
Yeah.
true. But what I mean is he's in such need of, like, if he's given a task, he can do it. And with like Gen Z and some millennials, at like, so I'd say half of the millennial generation and most of the Gen Z generation, again, if it doesn't apply to you, then just ignore it and take it with a grain of salt. But it seems like, especially now, a lot of kids are floundering. A lot of kids don't know what their purpose is, don't recognize that they have potential that needs to be mentored and that they should cherish. Instead, they're too busy trying to be TikTok famous or to get some sort of notoriety, or they desperately want their YouTube 15 minutes of fame, whatever the case may be. And they're ignoring their own abilities to do everyday menial tasks because there's nothing else for them to do. And so if you get someone who is, because imagine if it had not been Master Kulgan that had found Pug. You know what I mean? Like if someone else had sort of swooped up this wayward child and mentored him in darker senses, right? Like to use any type of potential or his sense of duty, or because once he's given, like you said, Stig, like once he's given something, he finishes it. So I just think it's very interesting as you read about Pug, you're seeing someone who has the ability to be dedicated and thorough.
Another thing he has that Gen Z doesn't have is the ability to be grateful.
Yes. But I mean, that could also be, that's something that can be taught too. Greed is easy. Gratefulness takes some time generally, but I find it very interesting as you read. He really did need Master Colgan to come along. Like that storm that almost took his life. He really did have no concept of his own worth.
You know what was awesome?
What?
Right after the storm and the boar attack. So if you've been outside and you're really cold and you're wet and all that,
Yeah.
and then you go into that cabin and get that boar stuff for right from the stove.
Yeah.
That made me hungry.
Mhm. Oh, there was lots of feasting in this. Yeah, it drove me nuts. Yeah, and he's
Food
sitting
is
there by
good.
he's sitting there by the fire. Here, I do have some pictures. This is from the graphic novel. This is Pug, looking like a drowned rat, and he meets Colgan.
Drowned.
There we go.
Really? It's called drowned, Teresa.
What did I
It's
say?
called artistic flair, Stieg.
There you
Said
go.
Depends
drounded.
on the person.
Drowned. Oh, I'm going to Google that and see if that's okay, Mr. Grammar Police. But anyway, so this is when he's sitting there smoking a pipe. Again, that also gives a bit of a cozy feeling. He's by the fire. And we find out that he used magic to see Pug, and that's why the person came to part of the reason. And then, yay, there he is. This is a fan art of my little Fantas, the best, cutest little dragon on the planet. I love him more than life itself.
Oh.
So
Meacham was pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of Strider-ish.
True.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cool.
He is adorable.
Yeah. Jacob says, good point. Today we have characters.
Yes.
We have characters that can do everything from the start. Pug is a real character who actually has to learn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's struggling too.
Hard, and it's a genuine struggle. It's not like the fake struggle sessions where they're like, my life is so difficult, or like, oh, I was unable to lift the rock the first time, but I got it the second time. Like, there's actual payoff, and there's actual learning. It's getting to the point kind of with stories, because storytelling is a part of human nature. It's something that is like hardwired into our souls. I mean, we were telling stories on the walls of caves, and we, certain stories have been passed down for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Like, you think about how old like the Iliad and the Odyssey actually are. Do you think those were the only two stories that existed in that time period? No. They were just the ones that survived. And so we get a piece of our own human history and imagination, and we get to see just how similar we are to our ancestors in that thirst for the unknown, and to allow others to see things that through our perspective, but then you transcend it into a point where it doesn't matter what language you speak, what food you eat, or what the color of your skin is. It's something that you can connect with on that human level. And that's something that has been woefully forgotten. And so to revisit a story like this, it just reminds you how incredible world building and storytelling and the human imagination truly is.
Yeah. And speaking of world building, sorry if I'm making you car sick by going through here too fast. It always begins with a map
Yes.
Look at this. I mean, and just looking at this map again at the beginning really was kind of moving for me because I have been all over this map. Now, I still haven't finished the series, but I've read, I don't know, more than 10 books here. And
Mm.
to realize all the places that I know they're going to go, it just was kind of emotional to me. Now, where we're starting is over here in a very little
Could you
small
zoom in a bit?
Yes, here we go. First of all, I wanted to circle the 3 areas that they describe at the first part. We're going to start over here to the left in Cryde. Here is Krondor, and over here is I almost said Ritalin, Rillanon, where you have
There's the Ritalin
kingdom,
they need. They have to
the
travel
seat
across
of the
world
kingdom.
for the Ritalin.
Yeah,
which
so
will
this is
help
going to
Pug
be
learn. Sorry.
well, okay. So here we go. Now I'm going to zoom in. So they describe this, and this is important. This is our area of the playing board.
Basically, Rillanon, that's where the king is.
Mm-hmm.
The king
Yes.
lives there.
Yeah,
And
the king lives.
in Krondor is where the prince regent is, who controls from Krondor north and west
And
of the
then,
area, with the exception of that big island in the middle, which is Queg or Keg or whatever you want to call it, which is a pirate kingdom.
yeah. And then over here in Cryde, that's the dukedom where we have Duke Boric, who is the son of the 3rd son of the king.
Yeah. And north of there, which you blotted out, is Elvandar, which is where the elves are.
Yes, and that's where we're gonna be heading there as well. I think I had it in the previous. Oh, oops, sorry, the previous map here. There we go.
It's gonna be. You're gonna get Elvandar stuff in the next chapter, which we'll do next week. Well, they're not going there, but there's a visitor from there.
Oh, you're right. It's I'm thinking. Well, never mind. So, and then we're gonna zoom in where we are currently. Yay! Here we are in Cryde. And you can see there's Elvandar. It's not really that far, relatively speaking. And it's called the Far Coast, the Strait of Darkness. I just love this stuff. And then I had another map. This is from the Pug book, the Chronicles of Pug. It shows some of the events we're going to be seeing.
The Chronicles of Pug is basically a lore book for the whole series, and it's written as a diary by Pug. So you get lore and stuff from book 1 to the last one. So don't read it until you've read all of it.
Yeah.
But it has cool maps and stuff in there, and pictures and all kinds of fleshing out.
Yep. And so this, I like it because some of the events we'll see, there's a shipwreck, there's the lighthouse, and there's the Cryde, which is a big castle and everything where people
Sailor's Grief. That's a cool name.
Yes.
And it's aptly named.
Oh, okay. I just saw your message, Lady Gravemaster.
Sorry. I wish I could stay longer. I'm sorry.
No worries. I'm just so happy that you were able to visit and everything. Did you have any last thoughts you wanted to say before you left us?
So I know that it's not a huge. I mean, the thing about Feist is he's similar to a lot of other authors. He doesn't put things into his books by accident, and I think one of the sweetest moments, and that lets you kind of know how much this is sort of Pug coming of age, is when it talks about how the boys and girls on the 6th day they all get a break from their chores, from their duties, and they'd go to the princess's garden, and they'd all be in their best clothes, and their hair would be clean, which was a big deal, and they would, each side pretends to ignore each other, but it's obvious that they're looking, and sort of how that rolls into kind of Pug's, I don't want to say dilemma, but it sort of, you get to see another portion of Pug's personality. And so I just love the way that Feist sort of brings all of that out with characters. You get to see how they act in different situations, and how it alters them slightly when they have different sort of goals and objectives. So this is, I mean, we're only in the first 5 chapters, and I really hope, Rennie, I really hope that you start loving the book, because it is fantastic.
Would you
I hope so too.
agree? Would you agree if I said Feist is like a mix between Robert Jordan and Tolkien?
Yeah, I could agree with that to an extent, for sure. But one thing that I will say about Feist is he is a master world builder. And so it's very easy to sort of get lost in the book itself, and sort of go down your own rabbit holes.
I have to correct you on that one.
Mm.
Because Feist didn't build this world.
Well,
his D&D group did, and him, and he asked if he could use it for a book. So it's a collaborative.
Stieg and I are going to have to get into a knockdown drag out over this one at some point on a different stream. No, I'm just saying, but it takes somebody with skill to put that to paper that other people can engage in. You know what I mean? So
you need to give it life.
Exactly. So Miss Martin, as always, it is a pleasure and an honor to be on here. Chat, you guys are awesome. I love each and every single one of you. And I really hope that you keep enjoying this book, because and I think Stieg and Teresa will agree with me, it takes you to a place that I was actually not expecting to go. Because like, I know, Rennie, you said you're not really sure what's going on right now. You're a little bit like, you can't really. Well, I was pretty confident about where we were going, and then we took a left turn at one point in the story. I think I want to say it's at about chapter 9, and I went, oh, that's not what I was expecting, and it was a good thing, obviously, because I sincerely enjoy the entire book, but you're in for a fantastic adventure.
This one is not predictable.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about this book. So, but yeah, that would be all that I have to say. But I do have to hop.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being here. And everyone, please subscribe to Lady Gravemaster and have a great, Easter.
Holy Saturday? Yeah, have a good Easter. Bye,
Holy
guys.
Saturday,
Much
too.
Love.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty. Oh, now I'm all alone. I'm not sure what you're talking about when you say running late, it seems.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, we were on time. 30 minutes in. Hello, Adega Outlaw. Thank you for being here, and great to everyone see. So I think we kind of went through most of chapter 1. The only portion of it maybe I want to highlight is they make it very clear Pug is an orphan, and they don't really know where he came from. And that is actually something that's not going to be important. I don't think I'm giving a spoiler away, because I originally thought, oh, okay, it's going to turn out, his dad's Darth Vader or something.
Well, not yet.
Oh, really? Oh, never mind. Are you messing with me, Stieg?
It's not important in this book at all.
Okay, it's not.
Later on, a little bit.
Okay, so maybe I need to finish the whole series before I say.
Also, it establishes that Pug is kind of sensitive to magic, or other, kind of like force sensitive. Because Colgan tests him, right, with that scrying thing.
Yeah. Nope, that's true.
Yeah, so we learned that. There's something about Pug.
Yeah, he has some sort of natural ability that isn't learned. It's just natural.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of, the trope is it a trope when that is a stereotype or something where you have that the orphan boy who learns he's more powerful than he could possibly imagine?
It's a
Possibly,
trope.
yeah.
Definitely a trope.
Yeah.
Usually it's a farm boy or
Mhm.
a blacksmith's son or a blacksmith's apprentice.
Yeah.
It's one
And
of
in
the
this
two.
case, yeah.
This guy works at a kitchen though.
Yeah, and he has his surrogate parents in Thomas's parents, so and Thomas is his best friend and in many ways like a brother. All right, so Rennie, before we move on to chapter 2, is there anything you want to add?
Not really. I think everything that could be said is pretty much said. I like the little pet mini dragon. I know they call him something else, like a fire something, but I thought he was cute. But I thought it was interesting that the boar didn't charge at Pug because of Pug. He charged at Pug because of the guy that was hunting him. So I thought that was really interesting, and he clarified that. He's like, "Oops, my bad that he charged at you," and that was a pretty interesting conversation. I did like how things played out with him. So yeah,
It was also good writing because the boar wasn't just a random thing that showed up just to
Yeah.
have excitement in
No,
the story. There was actually a reason for it that tied into something else.
exactly.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love it. Just love it. And here's another picture of Creighty or the castle at Creighty, rather. Just the idea that we're just in this marvelous medieval land and a castle. I want to hang out. Like, I want to work in the kitchens. But as we're going on to chapter 2, we meet my boy, Thomas. This is a fan art picture of Thomas. There's some cooler ones, but they're spoilers I can't use. But I love Thomas more than life itself. He is Pug's
Oh yeah,
friend.
he's not missing half his faces in this one.
Shut up, Stieg. He's lying, Rennie. He's lying. Okay. Gosh darn it. Yeah. So we established that he has the best friend and that they're very much like brothers. They're a family. Thomas is the more popular. He's tall. He's handsome. Pug is he's a little pug.
Yeah.
And
He's a scrawny kid.
and they're very excited because they're having the choosing, which is huge for these kids. They even say that sometimes boys that aren't chosen to be an apprentice to someone go and kill themselves. It's really intense.
Yeah, that was pretty like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a cool system though, and it's very medieval, but
Mhm.
it's basically when you're old enough, you become an apprentice to someone, and more often than not, it's been determined beforehand. If you're going to become a fisherman or a farmer or whatever it is, because you would have had contact with the local farmers or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But not being picked, the shame of it has to be a motivator by itself.
Yeah.
And
you really feel Pug when he's not chosen, like the shame and the realization that he would not fit in either. He's done. He's going to be one of those, like everyone else is going to go off and do all these things, and he's the one that no one wanted. And I don't know. I thought that it was really cool when the Colton decided to take an apprentice and choose him. Now, they make it clear in a way that it is pity, but is it something more that he has?
well, he's basically left. He ends up being the last man standing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Colgan steps in and says, "Yeah, have him as a magician's apprentice.
But if
which
he had
was
not
highly
had that,
unusual.
yes, I don't think he'd ever taken one.
No. So if Pug had not run into Colgan in the forest that day, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Because
Because
Colgan already knows there's something about the kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe fate. There's a little bit of fate going on. I don't know. What were your thoughts, Rennie?
Yeah, I do think so. I don't know why Colgan waited to the very end to choose him. Maybe he wanted to give somebody else a chance. But I do think that there was something about him upon their first meeting that he just couldn't let go. And he's like, I need to mentor this kid or give him some guidance. So I appreciated him taking him in. You know, I'm like, okay, he's at the choosing. He's got to pick him. It's the only thing that made sense when I was reading the chapter. So I just was like, okay, well, maybe it's not going to happen. He still hasn't done anything. And then it finally happens. It's like, okay, well, this makes sense. So I expected it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the
Yeah.
book is called Magician Apprentice.
Yeah,
That's
true.
Kind of spoilerish in the title.
Yeah. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm dagnabbit.
Don't press all the
Spoilers.
buttons, but yeah.
Sorry. Don't hate me. Well, at the choosing, we learn some new characters. This one right here. This is a fan art rendering of Carlene, who is the lovely princess, a little bit snooty.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got Roland, who is quite besotted with her, but the Duke is not too impressed. He says that there's some things that he needs to do to impress him, and later Roland will get a bit jealous of Pug because she starts.
We skipped something.
Mm.
Before the choosing, they run into Martin.
Oh, you're right. You know what? That's what I was trying to get at. Okay, let's go to Martin first. And there's a reason why this is important. I'm going to stop the screen so I don't make y'all car sick. Is Martin, who is amazing and awesome and brilliant, and I love him. He is actually revealed that he did not have to go through the apprenticeship. Is that what you're getting at, Steve?
Well, the fact that we skipped him entirely anyway.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. Okay. Yes. All right. We meet Martin.
Martin is basically the royal huntsman of that area. He's a ranger.
Mm-hmm.
And he has seen the elves and all kinds of stuff traveled around.
Yes. He is one of my favorite characters. He's so much one of my favorite characters. Yes. I'm sorry I skipped over him. I was going to get to him, but then I introduced these guys first. Mea culpa. But yeah. And he really comes across as being very competent, very cool. He has a moment with Pug, and his background, like I said, no one knows where he came. What was it? He was born, or he quote unquote came from like a monastery and was taken in by the Duke. And then later, when it's revealed, he did not actually go through the choosing because the Duke appointed him to his apprenticeship. It was, and I think that had never happened before. Of course, because he is Mr. Awesome. And Steve, your profile picture on Twitter is Martin, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so I was looking for a picture for this stream, and I'm like, okay, I'll use it because I keep switching my profile thing quite a bit.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find a picture of. Oh, I'm still looking for it. So, Rennie, what did you think of Martin?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty cool. He gave off basically the guy that the kids wanted to be like, so to speak, airs. So I thought he was pretty interesting, and I thought he was very kind and being semi-relatable to these kids. but yeah, I don't know him too much aside from that just yet, but I did like the idea or think that was interesting that yeah, he got appointed rather than to even have to wait to be chosen. So, but from what it was saying in that chapter is a very highly irregular thing and it doesn't happen 24/7, so these kids know better than to expect something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so far he seems cool.
Yay. That's the right answer because otherwise I'd hunt you down. Oh, no.
Thank you.
You got to be careful with that kind of talk nowadays. But
Yeah.
It's like, how dare you? How dare you? No, I love him. Okay, I'm getting the picture up here. So, and I think that some of the other characters, they also thought it was weird. You know what the magician decided to do. So I noticed that as well. Let me see. Come on, Martin. Well, so we had Carlene, and they're not letting me upload the picture. And then Arutha, who is my man. I love Arutha more than life itself. But you're correct that you haven't had the chapters for him that are that important to let you feel that. But he's shown here. They're not letting me upload anything now. My computer's
no.
being a
Well,
douche.
do it next time. He's
We'll
he's
get to him
not
next
gone
time.
from Arutha and Liam though are Carline's brothers,
Mhm.
and they are Duke Boric's sons, and they're in the line for the throne itself, really.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because Boric is the king's brother, something like that.
He's the third. The third brother. Yeah. So if he's one behind the spare, but if I'm correct, I forget what happened to the spare, like the second brother. Maybe that's not happened yet, but he will be in line, and so then therefore Arutha and Liam are also. But Liam's the
Well,
older brother.
Liam, yeah, Liam's the older one, so if all things goes wrong, Liam will be king. If it goes
Mhm.
wrong with everyone else.
Yeah, and then the way it would work is then the prince or the heir apparent would be the Prince of Quandor, and then the Duke of Cryde.
They will basically rule one half of the kingdom, but Arutha will rule under Liam.
Mhm.
Kind of.
Yeah. You know what? I
Which
don't
is a
have a
good way
picture.
which is a good way to do it.
Good point, Jacob. Carlene does have black hair. Oh well. Colgan and Longbow are his favorite characters so far. Yeah. So this is a fan rendering of Arutha. And, look at those beautiful eyes. It's like, yes, I love you too, Arutha. Oh, wait,
Yeah, he's like 16.
I love the Arutha when he's older. Okay. And this is supposed to be Duke Boric. He hit a little bit of a hit and miss. I imagine him to be a bit older.
Well,
But
they did specify that he was in his 50s, but he looked to be in his 30s.
oh, I stand corrected. Okay, so and I don't have one of Liam Love more than life itself, so I don't have a picture of him, but I can be forgiven for that. So, and then once they all get chosen the way that they do, they have a big feast, and once again, there's lots of food, there's dancing, and all is right in the world, or is it? So that's how we end up with chapter 2. Before we move on to chapter 3, Rennie, do you have anything else to add?
No, not really. I think this is just kind of a get to know the process and get to know the people or the royals and like the hierarchy and the way of doing things. So I don't think I have much more to add, but I did enjoy that excerpt about like, you know, this isn't typical. Magicians don't choose apprentices, or they're never at the choosing to do this. And so I just thought that was really interesting to read that.
Also, the royal family is called the Condoins.
Oh.
That's the family name, Condoin.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Well,
it was in there.
Oh,
So
I know.
Aretha Condoin. Weird
Alright.
name, but it has a cool ring to it.
It's interesting. I'm not sure how much I like the name, to be honest, but yeah, it's interesting.
She's judging. I love it. No, it just didn't register because things don't register when in my reference for other things that I know that are going to be happening. So I guess that's just me. But all right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to chapter 3, where some stuff does kind of happen. For one, we learned that Pug is not very good at magic, which is subverting our expectations a bit because I think, had assumed that he was going to be amazing at magic because, the whole book is based on him and they've sensed potential. But it's almost as though something is blocking it. And Colgan is frustrated as much as Pug a little bit. But then there's a cool moment where he realizes, Colgan, that Pug needs to just chill and go hang out with the boys, which is an incredibly cool part because he crosses over from our world into his, or his world into ours, or vice versa, with introducing football. I forgive him completely for it because I'm biased.
Yeah.
A proper football. European.
Yes. Oh, yes. I use that proper word, yes. And it's violent, though. It's horrible. Because it's like primitive football. And is it in this chapter, or is it in a later thing where they say we really need to come up with rules for this?
It's a later book when one of them brings a hammer to the field.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's it. Yeah, that's not a major spoiler.
Yeah, he beats the fuck out of a guy with a hammer during football because there's no rules against it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say one thing I thought was interesting is they do a little bit of a time jump. I think they said 14 months, if I remember correctly, at the beginning of the chapter.
Yeah.
So, he's now like 15 instead of 13. And so he's grown a little bit, and I would like to think matured a tiny little bit. So it's kind of interesting to see his slight variation in his character or in his personality versus when we first meet him.
Yeah. Well, and we also learn in here that he's bullied, that there's bullies here whenever we get this many people, and he stands up to him. What does he do? He drove his fist right into his face and felt his nose squash under the first blow. It's like, damn.
It's like,
he was pissed.
Dang.
Yeah, and you also have that thing that it used to be a thing. If two kids fight, you let them fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't run over and attack one kid because your friend is losing, because that's a shame thing.
Yeah.
Used to be. It's not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I will say this, having been on the other end of some of those fights, now because there's guns and knives, you actually can't let it just fight it out because you don't know if someone's going to end up dead. Because we've gone beyond the innocent. Okay, let's have some manly fisticuffs and call it a day. Yeah, and Thomas says something good. He says, "With bullies, it's always the same. Whether or not you can best them doesn't matter. What is important is whether or not you'll stand up to them," which is maybe a lesson for today.
Yeah, because the bully will stop bullying because he's not used to people punching back. So he knows if he keeps bullying, it's going to hurt.
That's exactly the truth. It's like, oh crap, I could actually get punched out. What the hell? I agree.
Yeah. And sometimes this is also controversial, that one of the best ways also to deal with bullies is to not become a target. Because sometimes bullies will target people who show weakness. And I'm not saying it's wrong to show weakness, but if you ignore someone that's taunting you, they'll usually move on to somebody else because they're looking for someone who will give them the correct reaction. And obviously, Pug was very sensitive to what he was, taunting him about being an orphan and all that. But the princess, she saw it and he was embarrassed. And is there anything else? Oh, there's just a little moment between Thomas and Pug where he says, "I think this will all somehow change." Like Thomas, like they're all talking, they're eating, they're going through their normal stuff. And then Pug says to Thomas, "We will be, nothing will change. We will be friends no matter what."
Yeah, I thought that was sweet.
It was. And maybe a bit of foreshadowing, unfortunately. Or fortunately, because we know things have to change. Because if everything stayed the same, then we wouldn't have a story. Hello, Zakrot. Cabbage face. Okay, I shouldn't laugh. Oh, yeah, by the way, Matt G, thank you for bringing the bacon if I didn't say that. Jay Ironside says, real bullies, yikes. Some bullies, rather, really know how to push people's buttons. Oh, hell yes. Absolutely. Yeah. It takes like supernatural strength to not, and it's difficult for children because if you're in a school or different social situations, you can't escape. Like, if I'm having an issue with somebody, for the most part, I can just avoid them. But if you're forced to be in a classroom with them 8 hours a day and you have to go to PE class where you're going to be in a locker room and all that, you can't avoid. Liffy's gut said, "That's BS. Teach kids to run instead. Oh, you want to beat me up? Let me make it easy for you. Stupid." Well, it depends on the situation. The dynamics have changed so much nowadays that you can't. It's different. But yeah, back in the day, sometimes a show of strength would put an end to it. Alrighty, and then really, what was established? Oh, one more thing. He is talking with Father Tully about magic. Colgan is, and he mentions to him that maybe there's some knowledge that he doesn't know. Oh, foreshadowing. And he talks about the Ishapians, caretakers for the oldest lore and history of the kingdom, and they have the most extensive library in the kingdom and at the temple in Krondor. So put that in your back pocket.
I thought they were at Sarth.
Well, I'm just reading what it says here.
Because they have one at Sarth as well, because they swing by in book 2.
Yeah.
And someone shoves a warhammer up a demon's ass.
Well,
literally.
don't give it away.
It's not in these two books because these are one book technically.
Yeah.
It's the one
You
we're
know,
not reading further ahead
yeah.
called
Well, it says,
Silverthorn.
yeah. Well, okay, let's be fair. It says, I visited the library at their temple in Krondor. And, okay, Stieg, I did not read the next chapter because, yes, Colgan says, and I have visited their shelves at the Abbey of Sarth, which is 10 times as large. Okay. So, yes, the biggest one is in Sarth, but even their one in Krondor.
You want to know why I
exciting.
remember this?
Yes, Stieg. Oh, I think I know why. Uh-oh. Am I in trouble?
It's a video game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a big role playing game set in the Rift War world, called Betrayal at Krondor.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Well, no, and I remember the temple at Sarth, but when I said I thought I might be in trouble because I'm like, oh crap, was it something that had to do with when I got lost in Skyrim or something we did in Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, so now the stereotype, if you will, of the stable boy, though he's not a stable boy, has to accompany the princess. If this was a porn, Rennie,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, all romances start like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking at the beginning of the chapter. I'm like, uh-oh.
It's like, oh, how contrived can you get? It's like, you must accompany my daughter all alone. But what ends up happening, well, for one thing, she's really snooty and really rude to him.
Yes. And she
he's getting
disregards
sick.
what he's saying. Yeah.
Exactly. And puts him down. And again, I don't like the way she's treating Roland too. Because you know that Roland's put out, but it's like, well, yeah, she's teasing. She's flirting with everybody.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. She's pretty and she knows it.
Mm-hmm. Roland is from another dukedom, I guess, smaller one, and he's basically sent to Cryde as a kind of like a ward.
Yeah. To be trained.
Yeah, to learn his upbringing and whatever. Mm-hmm. And he wants to marry Caroline. Mm-hmm. And Boric wants him to earn it because he's not manly enough.
Yeah. No,
but he's not a bad kid, Roland, though.
No. They don't quite make it clear yet, because I remember at the beginning I was thinking, oh, he's going to be the foil to Pug. But he's just a guy who, and they're teenagers, too.
It would have been very easy to have Pug and Roland fight during the ball game, because that would have been the obvious, but it didn't happen. So he avoided that little antagonist over a girl trope.
Yeah.
And as Rennie said, not only was she, rude to him, but she wasn't listening. And as a result, the one I keep accidentally showing, but now I'm going to show for real. She all of a sudden, she's being attacked by trolls.
Well, before that, she basically sends him away because she's going to eat the picnic and he has to eat somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is, so she orders him around and says, don't come back until I'm done. And what does it do? It leaves her vulnerable. But Pug, this is from the Pug book, the Chronicles of Pug, he out of necessity or whatever, he uses the Force, finds something within him to protect her. And all he's really thinking of is, I'm going to protect her. Oh my gosh, I need to stop it. And a spell comes up.
Well, it basically happens just as the trolls are going to catch him.
Yeah. because he uses
Yeah.
his sling first.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it kicks in when there's survival at stake
Yeah.
because he thinks the trolls are just going to bite into him and he's dead.
Yeah.
And then something happens.
Yeah. And as Jacob
And
says,
I think he actually drowns them.
well, yeah, it's a horrible, horrible spell. And this is what Jacob says. This is a good part. It finally gets some magic flowing. That not only does he do the spell, but he doesn't even think about it. It's like because they usually use scrolls to do their magic, and instead, it's like the scroll like comes out of his brain or something. He just sees the words and casts it at the same time, and and when he kind of comes to they're being drowned and tortured and in unbelievable agony. It's a really horrible spell, maybe even a curse. It reminded me a little bit of like the Cruciatus curse in
Harry Potter.
Yeah, but this of course was first, and it's destruction beyond anything not only that Pug thought he was capable of, but it really kind of disturbs Father Tully and Colgan. So we're going to get into that when they finally do get home, after everyone's like, yay, Pug.
Caroline likes him now.
Yeah. And I have mixed feelings about her on this one. I mean, is it that he finally stood up to her because after it was all done, she says, I'm not, gonna walk. And he's like, fine, then just wait here and maybe they'll figure out we're gone. It was.
Yeah, he got pretty upset, and he was like, well, I have to walk everywhere, so what's your problem? I really like that. He stood up to her and put her in her place. And I think that did earn him some respect.
Yeah, because everyone else is always sucking up to him, and he saved his life. Yeah, so you're right, Steve. And then when they get back, she sticks up for him, and the Duke says, my daughter has said some very remarkable things about you, boy. I would like to hear your account. And he said, I cast a spell on them, and they were unable to reach the shore, but he couldn't really describe what happened. He's very confused. So, and Colgan tells him, Pug, nothing like this has ever been done before. Do you know what you did? And he said, I only did what I said I did. He says, but you do have any idea what it means? Pug says, no. And he says, neither do I. It says peace. And there's different almost orders of magic. They have like clerics that use spells off the top of their heads, but they do different ones.
Yeah, the clerics think they get the magic from the gods. They're channeling the gods in a way, which might be true. That will be explained in later books, I think, or maybe in this one. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
The magicians uses the elements, and they do it from scrolls.
Yeah, they use their bodies or devices or books and scrolls. And priests have power to focus their magic through prayers. Their incantations are a form of prayer.
Yeah.
He says.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Which is how it works in D&D, actually.
Mm-hmm. And then he's like, but you produced something that without any of those focuses, something that's outside of this. It's as though you have discovered a completely new form of magic. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So this kind of blew my mind, I think, the first time I read it. Now I think I understand it more. Rennie, is this all making sense to you?
Yes and no. So definitely just kind of goes alongside with the, the theory at the beginning of the book. It's like, okay, there's something more to Pug, or maybe, Pug has some sort of natural capability or ability that either hasn't been seen for a while, or hasn't been seen before. Um, and he just is able to, incant this stuff because, yeah, according to his mentor, he should have been hurt by casting that spell. And instead, he wound up inflicting the pain on the trolls. And I thought that was really cool. And it even talks about how, for the moment, I think like the back of his eyes lit up, and then all of a sudden it just happened. And I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. So, um,
Oh,
and
side note, Duke Boric seems to be a very, very good ruler
yeah,
because he listens to everyone.
yeah. And
He doesn't jump to conclusions or hasty things at all.
yeah, unlike the governess, when they get back and she's like, I'm going to have you beaten. And the princess is like, well, hold on just a minute. You don't even know what happened. Let me explain it to you. And I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. Though to be fair, that that's not the governess's job. The governess's job is to be, the busy, bossy lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with what you say about Bork. I love, well, you know how much I love Bork and these other characters. So, in any case, what ends up happening is dun dun dun. They're like, Pug, we have something for you. And they have a ceremony and make him a squire of Cryde, or of the land, or whatever it is. So now Pug is actually made into a gentleman, I guess.
A member of the court. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's nobility
Yay.
because he gets land too, but he's not getting them until he's old enough.
Yeah.
He's
And
getting a
it will-
mansion and stuff like that. And that's quite a big thing, given that just a year earlier, it looked like he would have to leave the area because nobody picked him for the choosing.
Mhm.
And until Colgan did. So quite the increase in luck, kind of.
Yeah. And the Duke says, in matters of duty, you are responsible to Kogan. In matters of honor, you are responsible to me. And no member of our court has ever brought shame to the hall. I will expect the same of you.
Which also means he has been damn good at picking good members for the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, as a member of the court, he doesn't eat in the kitchen anymore. He gets to eat like with the rest of everyone else. So he's been elevated.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool for him, especially being an orphan, that he gets a little bit of I'm trying to think of the right word here, but just a little bit of, a sense of being, and, doesn't feel like someone who doesn't belong anymore. It kind of fits in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, my Pug. I love him. And of course, anytime they have a feast, it's always good. So yay, and food. These things make you want to have food. All right. Finally, I was able to get the picture of my Martin. There we go. There's my Martin. Love him. And that's Steve's profile. I'll put some of those together. So now we move on to chapter 5. Now, chapter 5, this is where crap hits the fan. I think everything changes. There is a shipwreck, and shipwrecks happen. It kind of sucks. But part of the idea of a shipwreck is when a ship wrecks, it's a free for all. Everyone can go and take the cargo. I remember this in some of those old British books I used to read. So they get really excited. And so they go running off. It's like, we need to get there before the king and all of them find out. Maybe we can get some cool stuff. They're thinking maybe they'll get some swords, maybe some money, all of that. So, but instead, what ends up happening is they find something very, very different.
Also, Pug puts his foot down because he can't do that because he's nobility now. So he has to declare the shipwreck for the Duke.
Oh, yes.
So he's actually taking his duty seriously.
Yes, I did not make a note of that, but you are correct. So yay, Pug. So Pug is a man of honor. And but as they get there, they're like, this doesn't look like normal stuff. They find a strange looking dagger fashioned from some unfamiliar material. They're like, maybe they're from Quag, and they're like, no, this isn't something like Peg and Quag rather, where the pirates are. And they see again a lot of unfamiliar design, blue helmet, pot-like. And Pug starts to sense that there's something in there that he needs to find. And finally, he goes searching really desperately, and things are getting kind of dangerous because the ship could sink any moment, as it says in the book. And he says, "Come on!" And they run off, and he finds a rolled parchment with black ribbon and a black seal on it.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden,
I think they take a bowl as well.
Yes, they take and they take a few more of the artifacts, but then as they're going to leave, they realize that there's one dude that's been left alive. And he's holding a sword, and blood's running out from under his blue breastplate. And so I think he's trying to attack them, and he's speaking in an alien tongue, something that they don't understand, strange words. And then Prince Ruth and all them come up on horses, and it says the pure look of horror crossed his face, and he tried to flee, but then he fell forward into the sand. And they realize, as they're talking later in council, these people are completely alien. So, Rennie, things have taken a weird turn.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know how to express it just as of yet, but yes, it's just like, wait, what the hell is happening here? So I don't want to give too much away, but it's as the reader, I was just like, what? We get a teeny bit of an explanation, but not as much as I would have liked. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know what to make of it yet.
Yeah, well, and since it's going to be within this chapter, it's not giving anything away to talk about that. They realize that there's this magical properties to it that they've never seen before, and that what they might actually be dealing with is people from another realm, and how they come to that conclusion. Yeah, or not realm, rather. Something entirely foreign.
And they start pulling Colgan into it. You know, it's just this big like portal or void, and you just see these arms coming out, and it's just like, what's that? What does that mean?
They're starting to be, and because that's not what they don't realize. Like at first, the father Tully, he got to kind of be in this guy's mind before he died and saw all of that, and then when Colgan rather opened up the scroll, it created a rift because the scroll was supposed to go to this guy's wife. So what it turns out happened was this ship was in the middle of a storm, and so a magic person cast a spell to try to save them, and fortunately it formed a rift that landed them right on some rocks. But so it opened up another rift when Colgan tried to open up the letter, which was supposed to go by a rift to the person's wife. And then, then they tried to drag him out. So we're actually dealing with a whole other world. Is it aliens? Is it another planet? Is it another dimension? But definitely it's something called a rift.
Oh, and Pug. He sensed it or something and ran in and saved Colgan.
Yeah, he had him
Right.
beat down the door.
Yeah, and he threw a spear into the rift.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been cool, well, not cool, but I feel like if he hit a child or something, because you wouldn't know what's on the other side. I mean, it could be like the woman who was going to get the letter is in her bedroom and trying to drag Colgan in, thinking it's her husband, and then a spear flies by and hits their baby or something.
Oh my!
I could go full John Wick and hit people in the crotch.
Yeah.
Oh no. But the good news or the bad news to all of this is, once again, the Ishapians, they have actually, in some of their old lore, they have stories about lands of peoples unknown, and that mankind could travel to other worlds or to Midkemia from other worlds. And
yeah, they have kind of stories, but they're not 100% confirmed. Like
Yeah.
people showing up that didn't speak the language and all kinds of stuff, and were they crazy or were they from another world? They didn't quite know, but it could be.
Yeah. Well, just like maybe not unlike what we hear about alien abductions.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Were they nuts or was it real?
Yeah. It's actually pretty much the same, except for they don't get abducted, they get delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that were trying to abduct Colgan instead of him abducting them. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's with the old stories too. There's people maybe from this other world that have popped up now and again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's led to almost like the UFO legends. So it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if they can use it locally. So instead of it just, I'm sorry, Teresa, instead
go
of it
ahead.
being
Go ahead.
domestic, or instead of it being like, into another dimension or realm or world, like, could they just use it to kind of teleport across the land?
There is, they did mention something about a gate, I believe.
Yeah, but I think right now they don't quite understand.
Yeah, because they got the images from the guy they found who died later on, but there was mention of a gate, not a rift, an actual gate, which might be near Cryde or somewhere else, as far as they know.
Jacob says a Stargate.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and
they know that this other world is bigger than they have more people and bigger armies than Cryde and this kingdom has. So it's potentially a very, very big threat.
Yeah, and not just a big threat as far as the human stuff, like the size of their kingdoms and the armies, but that their magic is far more powerful than anything they know.
Yeah, so this is literally a potential alien invasion in a fantasy wrapping.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to say it, to be honest.
It's like Independence Day.
And we do have the name of these people. They are the Serani, and the world that they're called is, I can't pronounce it. Steve, can you pronounce it? Seranani, the actual name of it. Like the people
Seraniani?
are called Thank you.
Yeah.
And the people are called
they're called the Seraniani, and the people are called the Serani. So
Yeah. I'm just used to calling them the Serrani. It's been a while since I've actually seen the name of their place. And
yeah, I keep thinking Surani as well. Both are correct.
mhm. And that they have a duty, or he has a duty to someone called the Warlord. Dun dun dun. We're gonna be seeing
Wah,
more of
wah.
that, yeah. And that these rifts are created by powerful bursts of energy, and that perhaps they've even happened in this world by accident, but these people know how to control it. And then Boric pales. Boric, my man. A nation of warriors with armies many times the size of our own who have access to our world at will. Let us hope they have not turned our eyes toward the kingdom. So, in other words, we screwed.
Oh, before that, they had sent Martin to talk to the elves
Oh, that is correct.
because he knows the
And
elves. He actually knows he knows the son of the queen as well.
mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. They got a mention towards the end of the chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is leading us to what's going to be coming in the next chapter. They said,
yeah.
I
If you
sent
read the
Fast
title of
Riders.
the next chapter, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it
gonna be a
says
thing.
here, it says right at the end, the elf queen sends word that she is already riding to Cridey and will be here in 2 days' time. So, and Tully goes, as long as I've lived, I've never heard of the Lady Aglorana leaving Elvandar. This sets my bones cold. So, A, yay, the elves are coming, but B, oh crap, the elves are coming. That must mean it's really bad. And then Pug is struck by a feeling of hopelessness.
Well, this is all new to him, right? So
Yeah, everything.
Mhm.
It's moving fast.
Mm-hmm. And then Colgan's like, well, you likely are not the only ones to have news of the Serrani.
I mean, think about it though, because they do have a little talk about how they don't think that there's land across the sea because there's been no evidence of it, but they believe it must be so. But that's about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
yeah,
kind of a split thing. Well, it's kind of like how we on this planet think that yeah, there has to be aliens because it's so huge, so there has to be something up there. And you
Yeah.
have the other people going, yeah, no, it's so big, we're never going to run into anything. It's like that, but with the ocean.
Mm.
So one explanation could very well be that yeah, this ship came from across the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Or it's, as they find out, it got teleported in, which pretty much, I mean, if you're living in a medieval society, even if you have magic, something of that scope is immense. It's like, you know, Independence Day, you see a big UFO above Washington, right?
Mm.
It's pretty much on that level. So yeah, they should be worried.
Yeah, I know what's going to happen, and I'm still worried. I think that Feist does such a good job of drawing you in.
I I like that he took the time to flesh out Cry-D, you know, how it works, and you know the people that Pug knows and all that. Because if there's a war or whatever catastrophe that's going to happen, you will you will have something to root for because you know what they're fighting for or whatever. George Martin did the same with Winterfell. He
Yeah,
fleshed out that quite a bit,
yeah, he did.
and Hobbiton got fleshed out a lot
Mm.
in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's a standard thing. Brooks did not do it though with the Shady Vale.
no,
He was just a whole ass. Get to somewhere else, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Dragonlance did
fair.
a good job. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
um, it it did occur to me that of all the places that I just want to live, Cryde is one of them. Krondor a close second, but Cryde is to me the best.
Cryde is on the coast, so I would, and it's to the north, so I would absolutely be at home there. And I would shoot that fucking deer too.
Oh,
That's me.
awful.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that
goodness.
big king of the forest deer thing that
The
Martin didn't
14
want to shoot.
pointer, poor thing.
Yeah.
It was beautiful and majestic according to the description.
Yeah, but venison, come on.
Yeah, but not everybody likes venison. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
That's
oh my
awful.
gosh. You're
You're the guy that
wicked.
killed Bambi's dad.
Yeah. Ate him.
Hey, will you stop talking about food? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, now my cat's meowing. She's all, did
I
somebody
mean-
say food?
Yeah, think about it though. You're on the coast, you're outside in a storm, you're freezing cold, you're wet, and then you come inside and there's fresh venison stew being served.
You bastard.
It's awesome.
Well, you know what? I'm not having venison. I'm not having venison because it being Easter tomorrow. Well, it's technically it starts tonight. I'm gonna make myself a lamb stew. Probably. I'm gonna go to the butcher and get some lamb
Why lamb?
because that's a traditional thing at Easter.
Some
Jesus
people
is
eat
Oh
it.
yeah, we do that too. I didn't. I just thought it was like a local thing, to be honest.
Because Jesus is the Lamb of God. A lot of people do that for Easter.
So they
Yeah.
eat them.
Well,
Yes, actually, we do. Don't even get me started on the Eucharist. That another Catholic's waiting, but yeah. Well, and here's the thing: in the in the Passover, also remember that's part of it. You eat the lamb, a lamb with bones that aren't broken.
With bones that aren't broken.
yeah, it has to
Yeah.
be unblemished.
A completely unblemished lamb.
You
That's
kill them. You kill the lamb with a plastic bag or something.
well. To be fair, I don't know enough about the way Jews practice, but I think the rabbi usually does it. I guess, and you get it. I don't know. I'd have to ask. I have some
You
relatives.
That's a
Drown
good
'em?
question. Oh, Lord.
Well, no, I think that it's just like where you get kosher stuff. I don't know. I'll ask. But
Like,
it's
Come
symbolic.
on, kids. Come on, kids. We're gonna drown a lamb for dinner today.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
Grab
yeah,
the
we're gonna-
wool.
Yeah, well, but it's not necessarily a local custom. It's not even necessarily because just like any custom, Christianity is so big. There's so many different local ones. It's kind of a bit of a Greek thing. That's kind of where we got it from. But in America, often people have ham. I don't know why they have Easter ham. Whatever.
Yeah, that's a thing,
We have-
too.
Ham peeps, jelly beans.
Oh, gross. There's
Yeah.
something about eating marshmallow with sugar on it that just doesn't appeal to me. I've just never liked Peeps.
No, and not since I was little. But yeah, but tonight's the real fun because that's where we do the 5-hour thing all night. But I digress. So food. Why were we talking about? Because of the deer.
Or-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So before we start talking more about food, so that's where this ends. Dun dun dun. Now, I was looking at what we might want to do for next week. If we were to read 3 chapters, that would be about 80 pages. So
Longer chapters.
yeah, because I'm looking here, chapter 6, in my book at least. Chapter 6 starts on 103, and chapter 9 starts on 186. So if we were to read like 4 chapters, that would be almost 100 pages. So I'm thinking chapters 6, 7, and 8.
In my book, we got to like 80 something today because I have that big hardcover, so there's probably more on each page.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because we get up to 102.
Yeah.
Now, are we good for next week?
Yeah.
I will probably have to miss next week because my mom's coming into town. So I I think we're going to be going to do some stuff next weekend. I would like to commit, but I don't think I can.
Well, okay. So, well, I still say we just, no matter what, read 3.
Well,
Yeah.
alternatively, we could do that 100 pages thing, and
Since it's 2 weeks, I mean, I'm
and
game.
then,
Okay, let's do
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
you heard
not
it
like
here
we're in a
first.
hurry.
No,
And
we're not.
We'll do a big chunk, and we'll be close to halfway through, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. So chapter 6, 7, 8, and 9
So
for next week.
through chapter 9.
Through chapter 9, yes. So that'll be 4 chapters. And oh my gosh, I'm just looking at what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be eventful.
It's hell. I mean, all shit hits the fan. It's going to be great. So that'll work. And then, oh, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited about rereading this because it's just like visiting old friends. And let's see. Brittany says, my husband loves lamb, but it's pricey here.
It's pricey here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, it is, but when you're don't have as many peeps, like it's just going to be me. So when you're doing it for one, it's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And you can go to the butcher and just get one thing, you know.
Go to the butcher and be lambasted.
Aha.
Oh,
Okay, no
Lordy.
lambs. Lord. No lambs here. I have a rolled meatloaf with beef and pork. My religion has no behavior dogmas that aren't exclusive for the soul. So basically, I can eat anything, anytime.
I'm an
Okay.
atheist, so I can eat absolutely anything.
Yeah.
I do like to be I'm kind of an open-minded atheist, though.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you. I think that's pretty cool. You're
Thank
not
you.
like super, like you're not one of those that like, oh, okay, well, if you know you're not an atheist, you're an idiot, and I see it, and I'm
Basically-
sure Teresa sees it. So
Basically, atheism is what science tells us is true right now, which can change dramatically tomorrow if some discovery is made. So it's basically just, the current Wikipedia page.
they did a really good. It was a funny version, but they did a kind of really good breakdown of it on South Park, where when Mr. Garrison winds up like marrying this atheist guy, and I forget what his name was, but he was a parody of a famous professor. But it was pretty cool how they explained it, like even though it was a parody, but I think it helps some people to understand. But I digress.
No. Jacob Ironside says, I'm a Southerner. I can eat anything. Yeah. Well, and I don't want to necessarily, because not call you out, Meteor Advocate. Maybe I didn't make it clear that I'm a Catholic, that a lot of these things that we'll eat, like what I just said about lamb and about, at Christmas time, there's the Christmas pudding, there's the bûche de Noël. Those don't have anything to do with the religion. It's those are the customs things that are associated with it. And in the faith, we can eat anything, but that usually it's the custom. For example, on Fridays during Lent and on Good Fridays and Ash Wednesday, especially, we fast and then we don't eat meat. But it's more getting you into the rhythm of what's going on, because I swear I never want meat except on Fridays. And so then when Saturday comes around, you're almost like, it's like a feast. I have meat.
Well, now
But
that
yeah.
Lent is over, you are good to go, ma'am.
I am good to go. But yeah, we just do other stuff. But but it's good because, that there's different, and that everything else is custom. Like you go to different countries and they have all sorts of weird sort of different kind of things that you do. But no, I always enjoyed Lent because it forces me once a year to really focus on something in my life, that it's like, okay, you know what I mean? I need to either improve this or get that out of my life. Things that are toxic to me. And some people like give up sugar or give up candy. It's like, well, whatever, that doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, it does. Okay, if it's something you need to do, that's great, yay. But this time around, I gave up, and I'm like, I'm not good. What we were talking about earlier about some of the social media stuff and the bullying and the trolling, I just don't want anything to do with it. Period.
Yeah.
No use, waste of time, and it's yucky. And at the end of the day, what comes out of it? Absolutely nothing.
Well, drama,
Absolutely
but like
nothing.
who needs it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, all it does is stress me out and make me angry and be like, you know
Yeah.
what, screw these people. I don't see
And
the point of getting worked up.
And it sucks out your time. And that's
Yeah.
usually the other people's goal. They don't want to argue with you. They just want to waste your time.
They want to get a rise out of you, and that's where they get their kicks, and I strongly believe in the old adage of starve the trolls, because it really does work. They'll sit there and nitpick and pick and pick and pick, and if they get like no response, it's like, well, not getting in a rise out of this person, gonna have to move on to the next. And then if enough people ignore them, they just kind of disappear and fade away.
Yeah, or they go on to other people, and it's like, fine,
Yeah.
if someone else is going to be a sucker and take the bait.
Yeah.
And if you block them, they'll come back with an alt account.
Yeah. Or they'll like spurg on you while they're being blocked and tell everybody what a piece of crap you are, which is stupid.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't block. I'll mute, but you're just better off just ignoring people, because you're right. They will throw a hissy fit. They will use you as a trophy block. I hate trophy blocks more than anything on this planet, because it's like, maybe you got blocked because you deserved it.
Well, sometimes it's a blockchain.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's true.
Sometimes it's a blockchain, and I have had so much more peace. And at the end of the day, it's just yucky to me. It's just yucky. So I'm not playing. I give up. And as far as any culture war stuff happening on Twitter, it's not happening. It's not changing anything.
No, it's just rallying the masses to
remember the
act stupid.
Star Wars sequel stuff that wasn't supposed to happen anymore?
And KK getting fired 500 freaking times, and
Yeah.
a civil war happening behind the scenes and all that stuff. And then like YouTubers fighting amongst themselves about it. It's just, I just don't see what the draw is for that stuff.
No. And that's why I don't have any use for, I won't call out anything specifically, because I don't want people coming after me either. But it's arguing between YouTubers, arguing between different accounts on Twitter and all that is nothing but a waste of time, and it's just a waste of time. And usually there's a reason behind it. That's not really about the argument at hand. Meteor Advocate Timon Flip says, for Catholics here, Easter is a time for chicken and fish. Oh, you Brazilians. Chicken and fish. Well, that's that's quite healthy. Howdy. Hello, Kick. Ava had me blocked, never did anything to her, not even watch her. Well, and that's probably a blockchain.
I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who that is either.
Yeah. Well, and I'm on my pedestal, but this is a free for all now. It's also, you don't know how stable the person is on the other end. That's the other reason.
If they have pronouns in their bio, they're always unstable.
But even someone that appears stable, you don't know if they're going to snap and do something crazy.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Cast spells on you and all kinds of stuff.
Well, but I mean like stuff like that they really could do to you.
I know. I got doxxed.
Yeah, I know you got doxxed. See, that's what I'm about ready to say is that, it's like just best not to engage, because you don't know. Again, they'll dox you, or God forbid, something worse.
Yeah.
Jacob Ironside says, my family celebrates Easter and have a nice meal, but focus on Jesus, the protector of our faith. That's the most important thing. Yeah, I mean, technically, that is the main part of Easter. Um, is it the leader and protector of our faith? That's from Hebrews. That's the most important thing. Yeah, well, I told you that I always go to the Easter Vigil, and it takes forever, but it's kind of fun because we light a fire and everything, and it's all dark, and then everyone gets baptized and all sorts of good stuff, and then we reenact the Godfather, which it always distracts me, and I have to keep telling myself not to think of the Godfather because they're always like, "Do you renounce Satan?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Don't think of the Godfather. Don't think of the Godfather." And you're like, "I do renounce Satan." It's like, damn it. Damn you. That's probably not very Christian to say that about the Godfather. But yeah, it's good times. Good times. And if you go to the Easter Vigil, a lot of people don't go to that one. So you'll actually get a seat and not be around a bunch of annoying people. Oh, wait, that wasn't very Christian sounding either. Oh my gosh, I'm going to hell. All right. Meteor Advocate Timon says Ava directed the Wrinkle in Time movie. Oh, well, that's just lovely. That it wasn't made for you movie. Yeah. And so no one went to see it, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of movies now. It wasn't made for you. Well,
Like,
okay.
Then no one
I
goes to see
didn't.
it. You're a bigot because you didn't see it. And then you have Tom Cruise coming out. This movie was made for you, and we're all like, "Yay!"
Yeah, and he's like, a total douchebag in real life. So for him to come out and say it, it's like, hey, respect that. I respect that.
Most Hollywood people, I wouldn't get along with most of them anyways. Though some of them are really cool, but they're usually not the ones that are in the Hollywood cult thing. Oh, we got onto this because Stieg was talking about venison. My gosh, Stieg. Yeah. Well, and technically, actually, Easter goes on for like several weeks. So, just like Christmas, we get to keep partying. And then if you go the day after Easter Sunday, like on Monday, that's when all the candy is on a discount.
Yes.
That's the second part of holiday of Easter Monday. Actually, the only Easter candy I kind of like is those chocolate malt kind of things that are like eggs and they got like the hard shells on the outside.
Oh, are you talking about the robin eggs?
Yes, the robin eggs. Yes, they're so
I like
damn
those.
good.
And I like the Cadbury mini eggs and I like the Cadbury cream eggs.
Cream eggs, yeah. Or the Reese's ones.
Those are pretty good too.
Yeah, because I like peanut butter. Gosh darn it. But I always get them on Monday because they're trying to get rid of them.
It's the best time to buy.
It is the best time to buy. It's like, woohoo, because all the, the Easter bunny already arrived. Boy. Well, really good conversation. And, there might be a Catholic explaining tomorrow, but I decided Easter Sunday wasn't the best time to talk about the deadly sin of lust because it was time for lust.
Yeah, that's
that would be weird and awkward. Yeah. And let's talk about sex. Well, technically, though, lust is not about sex. Lust is about the disordered,
Yeah, lust
addiction.
is, when you get aroused while watching the Saw movies and stuff like that.
Oh, dear.
Actually, Stieg, that's more correct than you know.
Oh, I know. I was making a joke, but also a truthful one.
Once again, our atheist moral theologian, he knows more about my religion than I do. No, you're correct. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with desire. Sometimes it was so good translations use the difference between desire and lust. Lust is a lot of other weird. Well, a lot of weird stuff you see on Twitter. Ay. But I digress. We're not going to talk about lust tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm going to stream tomorrow. I may just read a book. I may read some more Magician. Who knows? All right. Well, Rennie, are you going to be anywhere?
Not really. No. I'm going to be hiding out we were trying to get part 2 of Godfather 2 ironed out for today, and that didn't happen. So it looks like the next possibility that I can personally do is the 22nd on Brown's channel. So I'm going to try to keep pushing for that, Teresa, if you are available. So we'll see how that goes, but that's not for a couple weeks.
Okay. The Godfather Part 2, Part 2.
Yeah. It was so long because, there's so much to talk about that we just had to cut it off, remember? And it was like, okay, we gotta rest.
Well, yeah, we were all about ready to die. I was ready to die, and for me, it was like 10 o'clock at night. For the Brits, it was like 3 in the morning.
Exactly. And they try to do things on American time because it gets them better views, our viewership, but at the same time, it like kills them on sleep. So I can understand that.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those streams where Stieg is not up in the middle of the night. So,
Yeah.
Well, it's 8.
I'm up during the day.
Yeah.
Yay. So, Stieg, what's up with you?
Nothing for 2 weeks, I think. This stream in 2 weeks, and Mara's top 10, where we're doing the top 10 per year 70s movies.
Oh, okay.
So that's it. I'm not doing shit for 2 weeks. Well, unless I pop on with Tommy, and that happens now and again.
Yeah, and okay. And I might be doing some Teresa travels, all that. I honestly, those depend on my schedule in my life and any other musings. But so I don't have a regular time for that. I have been doing my regular videos now on Fridays. So the next one, it finally is going to be, I'm almost 1,000% positive, the Close Encounters. I'm halfway through all the visuals, and I think I'm going to start recording it today. It has been it's taken a while because putting together something with music is very tricky, and I got a lot of visuals, but I'm really excited because in Close Encounters, you see the aliens, they use solfege and the Kerwin hand signs to communicate. So I'm going to go all into the origins of that and what they are actually saying to each other, the tunes they are saying to each other when they are speaking. And just in case that is really what aliens are going to do, then you'll be prepared. Well, you never know. You never know. Suddenly everyone's going to call up elementary music teachers and choral teachers and be like, oh my gosh, we need to talk to the aliens.
Like, hello, I haven't seen you in almost 30 years. Could I get that flute again?
Oh, dear.
I need it for something.
Oh. Well, actually, it's a little more primitive than that, but that's okay. Because aliens
like a
are
drum?
more... No. Watch the video. You'll see.
Triangle?
No,
Lord.
Oh. You know what? You're the kind of kid I would have had in class that I would have wanted to have killed. Metaphorically. You would have driven me nuts.
Okay.
Beat him up.
My flute was always dripping with spit. That sounded dirty. It was the actual flute.
Oh, I was about to say, oh my gosh. Okay, a great show, Teresa, says Jacob Ironside. Have a happy Easter and a great week by you all. Well, thank you, Jacob. And to everyone that popped in today, always great to see you. Of course, we had our guests here, and Jacob Ironside, Liffy is God, Keck 44, Meteor Advocate Timon Flip, Matt G brought the bacon. For gosh darn it,
Gravy on.
Oh yes, our Gravy, Lady Grave Master, Zakrot 315. And if I'm Adega Outlaw, if CJ something from Rebel Inc. And if I missed, Mr. Brown Alliance. And if I missed anyone, it's not intentional, but I thank you and appreciate all of you that are watching this in the present, and we'll be watching it in the replay. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain.
Don't shoot deers just because you're horny and there's aliens around.